Hello, everyone, friends of all ages. Welcome to Her Journey, Her Strength, a show where we spotlight influential women from various fields to dive deep down into their stories and how they broke barriers, redefined success, and inspired generations to dream bigger and bolder. I'm Irene, and today's guests need no introduction to anyone passionate about education. A tireless advocate for building community and fostering connections, a dedicated and influential educator with 50 years in the field, a published author, recipient of the Presidential Award of Excellence in Science and Mathematics Teaching, and a former lower school director at Polytechnic School. Welcome, Paula Martin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Ms. Paula, thank you so much for being here. Let's start from the very beginning. You had such an impact working at Poly. I've also heard that you are still working in education after retiring. How did you begin this journey with education?
My journey began when I was probably 5 years old in the basement of my house. I grew up in a small town in Maine, only about 10,000 people, and I was an only child, so I spent a lot of time entertaining myself. And so my dad sort of built a little classroom in our basement. And I had a few desks, and I had a little teacher desk, and I put my dolls in the desks and sort of made believe that I was teaching them. And then that love of wanting to be a teacher just grew. Even when I was in first grade, and I brought something to show you, I wrote this when I was 6, and it says, "I want to be a teacher because I want to teach children to write, read, spell, and help them to be good to their parents and teachers who work so hard for them." And so from a really early age, I knew I wanted to become a teacher. I went to the University of Maine and received my degree in elementary education. And my first job was teaching first grade in Cape Elizabeth, Maine at Pond Cove Elementary. And I loved it every single minute until I retired 51 years later.
Oh, that's so cute. I can tell teaching is more than just a job to you, but I'm sure it also comes with a lot of challenges. What will you say your biggest challenges were?
Irene, I'd say the biggest challenge was meeting every child's needs. For example, we had a division with almost 300 students, and those 300 students all have individual needs and things that they need help with and things that they're really strong at. And I'd say that was the biggest challenge, is making sure that we were meeting everyone's needs. Another challenge, Irene, a very big challenge, not just for a Polytechnic school, but for schools around the country. When COVID hit, that was a huge challenge for families, how they were going to be home with their children. It was a challenge for the children because they hadn't been learning it at home without a teacher, without desk, without things. Sometimes they were even, sitting on their bed when they were learning. And certainly for teachers. Teachers are used to walking around the classroom, working with individual students, and it was really hard for everyone in terms of learning on a screen, teaching on a screen, and parents juggling how they were going to make that all work. So that was a very challenging time.
Yeah, I remember those times. Everyone had such a hard time coping. I'm so glad the storm has passed. During time at Poly, you also mentioned many amazing teachers. What do you think the most important quality of a good teacher should be?
Good teachers need to love kids. They need to be enthusiastic about what they're doing, teaching and learning. You want a teacher to be up in front of the classroom with lots of enthusiasm and excitement for what they are teaching to the kids. So I think that's the most important, and deep caring for children.
I can really see all those qualities in you, Ms. Paula. In my opinion, you're a very successful role model. However, success can be a very broad concept. How do you define success? Do you consider yourself successful?
It's a really, really hard question. I define success particularly in the role that I had as a teacher, as a principal at a school, in looking at the children, Certainly when I was a lower school director, I'm looking at them as middle school students, as high school students, and I would define success at when they are at graduation and they're marching down the stage, and I would say to myself, that's a student that is ready to go to college. They're successful in that they have a very good heart, they're a very good person, and they have had a successful academic career. And so to me, that success is watching those kids matriculate to college. My first principalship was in Wayzata, Minnesota, and then in Orono, Minnesota. And when my husband and I decided that we had been in cold weather states, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, we were sort of looking for a change. And I wanted to explore other opportunities, particularly in states that were a little bit warmer. I put my resume on a site called Education Week, and the person that picked it up asked me if I would send a little more information, and I did. And this person who worked at the recruiting firm sent me an email and said, Paula, this is John Faubert, your former third grade student. Call me. And so I did. And John and I had this great conversation. I remember him as a third grader. He was now in his 40s and working at this recruitment firm. And he told me that he was one of 6 children, and when he left the home as an adult, his mom gave every one of her children a box with some mementos in it. And in that box was a picture of the 2 of us when he was in 3rd grade. And I knew he was a great math student, and I had given him a little award, and it was a picture of me giving him this award. And he put it in his little memory box, and he's now married with 3 children of his own, and he has that little memory in his little box. And then I was able to, when I did get the job at Polytechnic School, we were able to get together for dinner, and as we were sitting there talking at dinner, he said, you know, I never thought I'd be having dinner with my 3rd grade teacher. And so when you think about success, when you think about what teaching is all about, that's the perfect moment.
Wow, that is beautiful, and a full circle moment too. It really shows how deeply teachers can impact their students' lives. Do you have any plans for life post-retirement?
I'm doing a little bit of working with children, tutoring and helping them with their studies, and also working with some teachers and thinking about how they can improve their curriculum. So I'm doing a little bit of work with that, but my major thrust right now in retirement is getting ready for what my husband and I are calling the big adventure. And so what we did is we bought senior citizen passes to the national parks, and we have 2 doggies, and we're going to throw the dogs in the car, and we are going to make our way from Pasadena all the way to Arcadia National Park in Maine. We're going to take about a month to do so. And so that's my big adventure that's coming up in retirement.
Ms. Paula, in this segment of the interview, let's get a bit cozy and personal. I would love to know who has had the most impact on you in your life.
That's a really easy question. My family, for sure. My dad passed away when I was very young, and so I'd say the biggest influences in my life were my mom and my aunt and my grandmother in terms of family. And then I was very fortunate to have wonderful mentors throughout my educational life. But I did bring a picture. Actually, your mom gave this to me, and it says, I am a strong woman because strong women raised me. And this is a picture of my grandmother and my aunt and my mom. My mom, we grew up almost like sisters because it was just the 2 of us. And so we are extremely close. And when I graduated from high school, my mom presented me with a beautiful pendant of two seahorses. And the story behind seahorses is that they mate for life and that they are always together and committed to be together for life. And so my mom said to me, you know, we are committed to each other for life. And so seahorses have always been sort of, I have seahorses in the house. I had some at in my place of work. So seahorses have always been a nice symbol for me of the strength that my mom had. My mother lost her husband, my dad, when she was quite young. And she had to go back to work and raise a daughter. And that strength and that resilience and that grit, those are three qualities that I feel like I have that I learned from her. And same thing for my grandmother. A funny story about my grandmother is my grandparents are Lithuanian, and there were two sisters in the family. And my grandmother, the younger of the two sisters, was very excited because her older sister was coming to America to get married to Mike. And about a week before they were to sail to America, my grandmother's sister decided that she was too afraid to make the trip and didn't want to come. And my grandmother said, well, I'll go. And so she did and married my grandfather, Mike. And I think that also shows incredible resilience and bravery. And those are qualities that I really admire in women. I think that we all have to make sure that we are confident and willing to take risks. That's really, really important.
That's amazing. She really is a strong woman. Do you think there's any life lessons that your mom have taught you?
Yes, I do, Irene. My mom was a single mother when back in those days there weren't too many women who were single moms and needed to go back to work and raise her daughter and our family. And so what I would say is that it was really important for my mom to instill in me the importance of having one's own money, not depending on a man for financial stability, that you were strong and you had a career. And so that was something that she instilled in me that I think is just really important. When I had my first teaching job, this was in 1973, I made $7,100, and I just thought that was so much money, and oh my gosh, I'm going to have that money just for me and my financial place, and I was pretty excited about it. It doesn't sound like much money today, but it was really exciting for me to be able to do something I loved and get paid for it.
That's such a powerful lesson. Your mom must have been so proud of you. If you have any lesson or words to your younger self, what would you have said?
I think I know my mom was really proud of me, but you know what? I was really proud of her too. And as I became an adult, really proud of how hard she worked to make her life and my life happen that way. I would say that my mom was a very shy person. And I am too. I'm very much of an introvert, but I've worked really, really hard in my life to be an extrovert. I think as a teacher, it's important that you put yourself out there, and so confidence is something that I would say is really, really important. Even if you're shy as a person, that's kind of who you are. As I was very shy, it's important to build that confidence when you go to that job interview, when you go to that college interview, that you portray yourself as a confident woman. My mom would say to me, no matter what I did, whether it was a dance recital or applying for college or applying for my first job, she would say to me, Paula, when you get out of the car, you say to yourself, I'm going to show them what a gal from Rumford, Maine can do. It is showtime. And even when I had the interview at Poly, that's what I said. I said to myself as I got out of the car, okay, you show them what you can do, be confident, it's showtime. And I think a lot of times it's hard to, when you're in an interview, you're applying for a job, you're going for a college application, it's hard a little bit to brag about yourself, but you want to be humble and you want to show that humility, but you also need to show confidence. It's a really interesting balance.
It's so powerful to hear you talk about the importance of confidence, especially as a woman in a world where we're still fighting for equality. I'm sure that many grown-ups who are watching our show will want to hear about how you get along with kids. What advice will you give to them?
I would tell them to be good listeners. Listen, listen, listen. Not only listen to what their children are saying, but also to asking them questions about what they're interested in. And if they're interested in piano, have them go and take a lesson. But to listen to what they are passionate about, what they're interested about, what they're doing. I think it's very crucial to a good relationship, parents to children.
I hope it may inspire parents in front of us. Today's talk show is produced by the Hearst Foundation, and your vision aligns perfectly with the Hearst Foundation. We both focus on using our influence to give back to society and speak up for women. I think that's also why you agreed to join our interview and be our first special guest. Do you have any words of encouragement you'd like to share with the Hearst Foundation?
My words of encouragement would be to dare to do things. If you are interested in getting a good education and you are nervous about filling out that application, be brave and fill it out. I brought something to show you that when I retired, the teachers had a song about me, and one of the things that they did at the beginning was to talk about what successful people are like. And they titled it, "Don't Be Afraid to Take Risks." And they quoted a great Roman poet, and here's the quote. "When we meet the most successful people, we may be tempted to envy them for their great luck. Of course, their success has nothing to do with luck at all. That's why Virgil, the greatest of the Roman poets, wrote 2,000 years ago that fortune sides with those who dare." And so that would be my advice, is to be confident and say, I can do this. I am just as good as another person. I might not have the background. I might not be able, English might not even be my first language, and so I'm a little nervous about that. Just go for it and dare to do it.
That quote really inspired me a lot. Thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome. It's a good one. 2,000 years old, and it's still a
wow.
good one.
Yep. Let's hear some questions from our younger friends.
Miss Paula, do you have any books you've been enjoying recently?
Well, again, I brought something to share with all of you. And it's not recent, and you might say, well, that's a children's book. It's Charlotte's Web. But it is my all-time favorite book. I've probably read it more than 50 times. I love this book because the theme is about characters who dare to do things, characters who take chances. Whether it's Charlotte or Wilbur or any of the characters in here, it's about friendship, it's about helping one another, it's about caring for one another, and so it is my favorite book. Not that I've read it recently, but most recently probably last school year.
Miss Paula, how do you spend your day? Do you ever feel like there's not enough time?
There's never enough time. My mom used to say at 94, I would call her and she'd say, "I can't talk long, I'm so busy." And I'd say, "Well, what are you doing?" And she says, "I just have work to do. I have things to do." And I would tell you the same thing. It feels like since I've retired, I've been busier than I was when I was working. And of course, because my husband and I are going on this big adventure, there's a lot of planning, packing, things to do. So I've been pretty busy.
Miss Paula, please share a motto that guides you.
The motto that has guided me from the time that I started probably college was to stay with my true north. And actually have that on a little cube of wood on my desk. And one of the things that I did with the teachers during a staff meeting a few years ago is I had them all make their own cube and to put different quotes on it. But one of the quotes I wanted them to put on there was, "Stay with your true north." And for those of us in education, the true north is children.
Quick fire rounds. Please finish these sentences. The most underrated teaching tool is?
Laughter. Teachers need to enjoy what they're doing, laugh with their students, have fun. Learning should be fun and teaching should be fun.
A book every woman should read is?
I would say it's a book by Cokie Roberts. She was a correspondent, newscaster correspondent, and she wrote a book about, I think the title is We Are Our Mother's Daughters, and it is about what we learn from our mothers we should put into practice. And the book is all about how important that is. Sometimes when we're younger, we don't take those lessons from our mothers, but our mothers teach us so many things and have so many values instilled in us. So I think it's a book that every woman should read.
And my feeling about this visit?
It's been great. Of course, I love seeing you, and you are such an amazing model for the HERS Foundation. You are a woman, a young woman who cares deeply about people. You have a very big heart, and you also care about doing your best at everything that you do. And you dare to try things all the time. You're a very, you're a humble woman. You're a humble young woman, but you're also a confident young woman. You're the perfect spokesperson.
Miss Paula, thank you so much for a visit. You reminded us that education is the ultimate act of hope. Keep challenging, keep nurturing. Next month, we explore the real estate industry with Janice Lee. Until then, stay bold. This is Irene, class dismissed.